In this lesson, we are calculating the rates when people work together. So let's take a look at what that means. This example says, Philip can bake 12 dozen cookies per hour. Brian can bake 1 dozen cookies in the same amount of time. How long would it take to bake 30 dozen cookies if they both work together? So what do we know about Philip? We know that Philip is able to bake 12 dozen cookies in 1 hour. Let's take a look at what we know about Brian. We know that Brian is able to bake 1 dozen cookies in 1 hour. And we know it's 1 hour because it says it's the same amount of time as Philip. So that's also 1 hour. That means that together the two of them are able to bake 13 dozen cookies in 1 hour. Because Philip's 12 dozen along with Brian's 1 dozen make 13 dozen, and they've both spent an hour working on it. Now, it's not asking us how many dozens they can bake in an hour. What it's asking us is how long will it take them to bake 30 dozen cookies if they are working together? So I need to take a look at the numbers, the ratio that I have. I have that that they can bake 13 dozen in 1 hour, which means that that is proportional to the 30 dozen that we are trying to figure out in some number of hours. And when we don't know that number, we just make a variable. In this case, we're going to call it X number of hours. So I can just set that up as a proportion, which means I can say that is 13 over 1, which I don't need to say over 1. So 13 is equal to 30 over x, which I want to get x by itself, but I need to get that out of the denominator in order to do that. So what I'm going to do is multiply. I'm going to multiply by x. Multiply by x, and if I do it on one side, I need to do it on the other. So that on the left side leaves me with 13x is equal to 30. And then I want to get x by itself, so what I need to do is divide both sides by 13. Because when I divide by 13 on both sides, my 13s will turn into 1. 13 over 13 is just 1, and 1 times x is just x. And that leaves me with x is equal to 2.3. If I know that x is equal to 2.3, that means that the number of hours that it took to complete 30 dozen cookies is 2.3 hours. So I need to make sure I put that as a complete sentence. I will say if Philip and Brian work together Oh, my writing is not great today. If Philip and Brian work together, it will take them 2.3 hours to, oh, goodness gracious. It'll take them 2.3 hours to bake 30 dozen cookies.